Oh, today is a very, very exciting day because Apple just announced their brand new MacBook Pros. And if you're anything like me or into video or into tech at all, this is an exciting day. Apple always delivers really, really well done keynotes and live virtual events, but man, I'm excited about this. So excited, in fact, that I just purchased 2 brand new MacBook Pros. I don't even know which one I'm going to keep, to be honest, but I'm really, really excited about them. Here's some of the things that they covered that have me fired up. I purchased the M1 MacBook Pro as soon as it came out, and I was super impressed with just how crazy fast the speeds were from this computer, the way that it could handle anything I threw at it, and it's basically the base model. I was pumped when I knew they were coming out with some even higher Pro style computers, and they did not disappoint. If you're interested in all the specs, obviously you can go and look at all of them on the actual website, but in a nutshell, they now have an M1 Max, which has a 10-core CPU, 32-core GPU, 16-core Neural Engine. You can do 64 gigs of memory built into it now, huge 8TB of SSD, which still I think is a little insane, faster charging than ever, a 14-inch Liquid Retina XDR display, but there are a lot of things that came out in this that I'm actually incredibly excited about that maybe not exciting to everybody, but here's what I'm pumped about. First things first, and it might be what is probably the smallest thing to them, but they brought back an SD card slot. And if you're someone like me who records and makes videos all the time, I hate putting a dongle into my computer to import something as simple as an SD card. This was in MacBook Pros for a long time, and then they took it out. They made this smart decision this time and said, you know what? We made a mistake there. Pro users still use SD cards all the time. I'm super fired up about that. Secondly, and even more importantly, is the fact that they now have 3 Thunderbolt 3 ports, which also are USB-C, but finally more ports, because I've had this MacBook Pro 13-inch and only has 2 USB-C ports, and that's it. And I'm constantly having to unplug something else to plug something else in. It's amazing. They finally have it back. And that's 3 ports, one of them which is not power. That's the biggest thing to keep in mind. There's 2 USB-C ports on the MacBook Pro 13-inch that I have, but one of them is for power. So you only really have 1 port available ever. Now the MagSafe is back. Feature number 3 that fires me up. MagSafe, what I always thought was the best invention ever for Apple, to be able to just pop it off. You're never worried about it getting caught on your leg when you're walking by and pulling your computer off the desk. I always thought that was a genius invention, and then they stopped it. But now they brought it back. And because they brought it back, you actually get 3 USB-C Thunderbolt 3 ports that are available to use for other things, because they are not your power anymore. Also, regarding that MagSafe power adapter, it charges, they said, 30% faster. 30% faster. You can charge in 30 minutes, you can get 50% battery life. Regardless, it's 96 watts. It charges your computer a lot faster, and that's great because the rare times that you have to charge, seeing as though the battery life is unbelievable on these computers, it's going to charge even faster when it happens. Now, there is some trade-off that they removed that USB-C, because I did have a power bank that would charge my computer when on the go, which was awesome. Now I can no longer do that because of the MagSafe, but I'll take the MagSafe instead. Like I said, I still think that was a great idea. The battery life is so good, hopefully I won't have to charge much anyway, so there's that. They claim you can get 21 hours of battery life on just your everyday. They call it video watching or movie watching. Like, I don't really know why they always clarify everything as that, as though a lot of people sit and watch a movie on their computer for 21 hours straight. I'd rather them just say, you get 7 hours of Final Cut Pro editing. That'd be more useful for me. And that's probably what it'll be. I would think about 8 hours or so, which I'll take. Now, the craziest thing about this M1 Max processor is that they are saying it's 4 times faster than the M1. If you've never experienced an M1 processor, you don't realize how unbelievably fast that is. Like, the M1 processor was crazy. It blew away everything that I had in a 16-inch previous model with the Intel Core i7 with quad core. It blew that away just in its stock form. And now they're giving me 4 times the performance. That's going to be pretty freaking impressive. They are claiming that you can have 30 streams of 4K simultaneously. 30 streams of 4K simultaneously. Like, that's just unbelievable. Another amazing feature is they finally got rid of the stupid, useless, pointless, why did they ever create it touch bar that does absolutely nothing but drive everyone crazy. It's finally gone, and they have finally put buttons back on the keyboard, which means you can quickly access the things that you do every single day instead of having to push the button, slide the button, move the things around to get volume and displays and just brightness. It was unnecessary. It was stupid. Everyone hated it. Apple, you listened. You're so nice. They also brought something that is just super popular. note, complete sarcasm, the notch has now arrived on the MacBook Pro. Now, I'm not excited about the notch, but they removed a lot of the bezel so that it's a thinner bezel around the whole computer. There was no other option. They had to include the notch, so I get it. Plus, it's a 1080p camera. Will it be any good? Who knows? But anything that could be better than what's built in on the MacBook Pros for your everyday Zoom calls and all that will be it'll be very helpful, because I like using my computer for just those quick calls if I'm not by my iPad, but the camera is so horrible on it. They also said that they made the quality on the microphones even better than ever. Now, the 16-inch MacBook Pro, when it came out, had a pretty impressive microphone system on it. Now, I am one of those people, as someone that's really into audio, that doesn't really understand the whole concept of why they promote that as like this feature for musicians and for people that use Logic a lot, because personally, I don't really know a lot of people that would like be recording themselves singing for like studio purposes with the built-in microphone. But I don't know. If it means that I sound better on a Zoom call or something, I'll take it. Another thing I'm really excited for is the new Liquid Retina XDR display built in. So this is based off of their actual like XDR displays that they sold, which were crazy expensive, but they looked unbelievable. That's now built into the computer. So that'll just be amazing to look at all day for color and just being able to see that. It's great. ProMotion refresh rates up to 120 hertz. Now, you won't use that in a video capability, but you definitely will use it for everyday use. Obviously, 120 hertz is being brought to the iPad and the iPhone and all those things, so it's becoming very popular. Really nice. That display, though, is going to be incredible because it also allows you to see true HDR for color grading and photography and print production, all that stuff. So that's going to be really, really nice for people who want an amazing screen. Definitely the best screen probably on any laptop in the world now. Alongside of the new 3 studio quality mics that they added, they now have a 6-speaker surround sound system. So they have 4 force-canceling woofers, which allow it to get 80% more bass. Now, if it's anything like the way that they've been adding to the MacBook Pro and the iPad Pro in general, I've been really impressed with the built-in speakers that they are actually having on their devices now. They sound really, really nice for just the everyday listening. Now, I'm not a person that usually is listening on my actual computer speakers anyway. I'm usually using headphones of some sort, but being able to have it sound really good is great because you can just use it as an additional point of reference and just playing music if you don't have a speaker nearby or headphones or whatever. That'll be great. I'm excited about that too. The keyboard has been entirely redesigned, which if you're someone that uses a computer a lot, you're going to really like that. They claim it's the first time that there are full height function key rows on a MacBook Pro. So like the tactile feel of mechanicals that pros love. So I don't exactly know what that's going to feel like in comparison to the previous one, but they've had a lot of issues over the last couple of years with their keyboards, people really not liking them, and the whole flat design they went for, they're basically getting away with it and bringing everything back. So I'm hoping and thinking it's going to be more like this keyboard I use here, this Logitech MX Keys one that I absolutely love. The keys are nicely raised. They feel really good. They are super solid. It's probably going to be something more like that, I think. I'm just guessing, but I'll take it. Now, one thing that will make a huge difference that I don't think people will even realize on paper until you actually get it is that the SSD speeds now in the computers are 7.4 gigs a second, which is more than 2 times the previous generation. 7,400 megabyte a second read-write speeds on the SSDs. Now, to the average person, you may not necessarily even realize what that's going to actually feel like, but in a nutshell, the way that it reads your files, if you're someone that's into video, how fast it reads things to open up and how fast it allows things to copy from one place to the next and to just move all over the place very quickly is going to be a huge, huge difference compared to what you're used to, especially if you're not someone that's used to coming from the M1 MacBook Pro, because those were already really fast. And the fact that they made this SSD even faster will be beautiful if you have enough storage to actually edit directly off your SSD, which I try to do a lot on my personal computer. That's going to be awesome. So overall, crazy fast upgrade. They call it scary fast, but 3.7 times faster CPU performance, 13 times faster graphics performance. This computer is going to just fly. But I love the fact that even though the computer itself got massive upgrades in terms of the capability and the chips, they brought back things that make a lot of sense for pro creators, which is more ports, an HDMI port, an SD card slot, things that we use all the time that they wanted to take away to minimize the look and port. I don't know. They brought it all back and it makes sense. Thank you, Apple, for listening. It's very unlike Apple, in my opinion, because normally when they bring things back, they want to make a statement and it never comes. They take things away and they don't always bring things back. They listened this time, it seems like. And just like it says on their site, this is supercharged 4 Pros. I cannot wait. So what did I order? Well, currently I ordered a maxed out 16-inch MacBook Pro and maxed out everything except for the SSD. I personally think it's a waste of money to go that high to 8 terabytes right now because space gets cheaper and cheaper. So I went with the 2 terabyte on my 16-inch and I went with the 1 terabyte on the 14-inch and maxed them both out in terms of the memory and all that stuff. And man, this computer's coming next week and I cannot wait to play with it. Curious, do you even care? And did you order one? And if so, are you thinking about it? What computer are you currently running? This is going to be an upgrade no matter what Mac you have, even if you have the most recent, because they just completely just flipped everything upside down. It's going to be awesome. Thanks for watching. Just my thoughts. Oh man, am I pumped.